Welcome to the Renegade Nutrition Podcast, where we discuss all things wellness.
I'm Eleni Welch, nutritionist.
And I'm Kay Boyer, health enthusiast. Welcome back, Renegades.
Welcome, Renegades.
Welcome. Now, this episode might be a little slower because we're both really tired. I don't know. Her Eleni is. I got good sleep, but I'm still tired. And you got zero sleep. And so you're real tired.
Very tired.
So if we don't seem really coherent today,
yes,
that is why.
My baby is preparing me for her appearance Earthside by just keeping me awake all night now. So
yes. I think you need to experience that now so you're ready. So I think that's wonderful. Mm-hmm. That's kind of like how life gets you back. So good.
I actually read somewhere that pregnancy insomnia, some people think is like the insomnia that hits with pregnancy is actually your body training you to get used to sleepless nights.
Okay. And then, so you should be napping just whenever you feel like it then.
Right.
Because you're just going to be so screwed up for the next year.
Yeah.
That you might as well start now.
Just start now. Yeah.
So let's go take a nap, I think is what that means.
Yep. Yeah.
Cool.
So I feel like I'm going to be well prepared for a baby that wakes up every few hours.
Yep.
Because I'm getting less sleep than that now. That will actually feel glorious.
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good. Let's do it.
Oh, all good. Well, today's topic is all about getting dirty.
Yeah. Oh, hey, bouncing about. Wow, Eleni, can we talk about that on this podcast?
And specifically, why getting dirty protects your immune system.
Oh, okay. The benefits of getting dirty.
Getting dirty. We should just like title it something obscure like that.
Yes.
The benefits of getting dirty.
Yes.
And then it will be our most listened to podcast because everybody just wants to know what the topic is.
The first 5 minutes, and then they realize that we just want you to like lick dirt, and then they're like, oh,
like literally dirty.
They're like,
never mind.
Never mind.
Before we jump into it, bonjour to our listeners in France.
Ooh, oui.
France.
I love that.
Speaking of France,
yes.
When I was working on your computer, did you have like a VRBO in France search, or did I accidentally hit that when I was looking up facts about France?
Well, you know what? I think I had that for our friend Marie, who travels the world, and she went to France and she had a wonderful time. So
my God, it looked amazing.
Yeah.
I was like looking at all the different chalets
and
places we could stay in France, and I was like, I do want to go there.
We need to.
It looked amazing.
I took French in high school, and I can say maybe just oui. So, but so I wouldn't be one.
I took Spanish in high school, and I too can say oui.
We're the same. See that? So we need to go together, and maybe we could function in France as a human. I don't know, but I love France. It's beautiful.
Have you been?
Okay. Oh my gosh, we did a Europe tour, and we did 10 countries.
Oh wow!
And right now, I can't remember if we did a flyby of France or not. To be honest. I'm a little tired, and I'd have to... Marie, did we go to France? What was my favorite? We did... I don't think we did. I think maybe our train... I think we went down in France, but we got on a train and left. So I don't think we experienced France.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but we... anyway, the other countries, I loved all of them, so I'm sure I would love it.
Now we just need to go and go to France.
Yeah.
You're going to especially want to go. Here's a fun fact about France. I think this is my favorite fact we have presented about any country so far.
Better than the Butter Museum?
Oh, that's true. That's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
It's up there.
Okay.
It's up there.
Okay.
But supermarkets in France are not allowed to throw away food that is near the best buy date. Instead, they need to donate the food to a charity or food bank. I think that's so cool.
France, thank you.
Good job, France. I'm like, why doesn't everybody do that?
Seriously, stewardship of your food, and then stewardship also for the planet, and also for the hungry people that need it. Like, well done. Now, in Iowa City, we do have that table to table, which is that concept, but to make it like a rule and like this government-backed idea is amazing.
They passed the law in 2016, and supermarkets in France donate roughly 45,000 pounds of food per year. that would have just been thrown away if it wasn't donated.
That is amazing.
I think that's so too. And then it was like in the article I was reading, say it's like sometimes fruits and vegetables are not like
if they're like totally just spoiled.
They're spoiled, but otherwise the rest of the food is distributed to families who need it, which I think is like so great because then people who need the food get it.
Yep.
And we're disposing of less.
Doesn't go in the landfill.
In the landfill.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm. And then the supermarkets don't have to deal with all that trash.
Yeah.
I think that's so cool.
Yep. Good job, France.
One more fun fact.
Okay.
This is also one of my top favorite facts about France. Besides that they eat over 25,000 tons of snails every single year.
Snails, because
like escargot. Escargot. On average, a resident of France eats approximately 500 snails per year, which are considered a delicacy and are often enjoyed during holidays. Here's my favorite part of this is it is illegal to carry live snails on a high-speed train in France unless they have a ticket. It is a law that states that animals weighing less than 11 pounds must travel with their own ticket.
With their own ticket?
Like, how cute is that?
Like, the snail's like, I got it right here. And each little snail has their own ticket, or do they get a group rate?
I feel like they must get a group rate.
Yeah.
Because I was looking up what the price of those tickets was, and I was like, they must give a group rate. Like, what if you had like 100 snails?
Right.
That you're bringing home for like a family gathering for the holidays? Like,
it's got real expensive.
But in my brain, and I realize that this is just like a normal size ticket that the passenger that's human is carrying. But in my brain, they were individual teeny tiny tickets that each snail had.
It should be. You're like, let me get out my little printer to make you a little ticket. That's hilarious.
The person is just handing it to each snail. And then in my brain, they're wearing tiny hats as well.
Yes, they would. Now, okay, from a nutritionist standpoint, how good are snails for you?
Oh, I'm sure they're a good source of protein. I mean, and they're like a mollusk, so they probably have some of the same health benefits as regular mollusks, although they're not necessarily from the ocean, so they don't have the like minerals and things that come with ocean seafood.
Cool.
But also they don't come, I would imagine, they don't come with the same amount of like heavy metal toxicity.
That's fair.
That
we gotta watch.
Ocean mollusks come from.
Yeah.
So I feel like they must be pretty good for you.
Yeah.
Seems like something that would be nutritious. My grandma ate snails in Crete when she was growing up.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if I can get behind this.
Okay, if you were in France, this was a question for you. If you were in France, would you eat snails?
Heck no.
No. Really? No. Even in France?
Okay, well, one time in Louisiana, they made me have an oyster and I woke up with a rash. So mine is actually like because I don't want a rash because they're in the same family. I don't know. So
I love oysters. Yeah. I think I would eat snails. They normally cook them in butter and garlic, and that sounds delicious. Plus, I feel like if I was in France, like it just seems wrong not to get escargot when you're in France.
I hear that.
Like that's
unless
the only
rash.
Yeah, unless you're allergic and your throat's going to swell up, in which case, I don't know if I wonder if land mollusks and sea mollusks have the same allergic effects. I wouldn't test it on you without knowing. I'd Google it first.
Yeah, I'm prone to rash, so I'm gonna wait on that.
Okay, I would do it for you and just to say we tried. So when we go to France and stay at one of those VRBOs, I'm gonna order escargot.
Okay, deal. I'll take a little bite.
We'll chance it.
Yeah,
we'll have an EpiPen.
Yep. Yeah, deal.
And now moving on, here's some exciting Iowa news.
Yeah.
So at the time that we're recording this podcast, which we are ahead, dear listeners, by like 6 weeks.
Okay.
So you won't be hearing this episode for another 6 weeks. So we'll know exactly what's going to happen by the time this episode comes out. But at the time that we're recording it, we don't know what's going to happen.
Tell me.
The raw milk bill. Have you heard of this?
Okay, I've heard some rumoring, but I don't know what's going on.
So the raw milk bill would allow the sales and purchase of raw milk in Iowa. It has now passed both the House of Representatives and the Senate, passed the Senate by a 37-13 vote, and is currently traveling to Governor Kim Reynolds to get her approval.
Whoa.
Her stamp of approval on it.
Oh my gosh.
So if she approves it,
We won't be outlaws anymore.
We won't be outlaws anymore. Iowa can sell raw milk legally.
That is awesome.
Which I just think is really cool because in the course of this podcast,
Yeah.
in our dairy episode, we talked about raw milk.
Yes.
And how much better for you raw milk is and how we recommend it. And at that time, it was like contraband to have raw milk. And I was like, well, I can't like share anybody's name or information on this podcast, right?
Right, without fuzzing out names and fuzzing out faces.
Putting them in the witness protection program.
Yeah.
So at the time I was like, well, you should get raw milk, but not everywhere can get raw milk. But how cool would it be
now we could.
that if Iowa could? So I think
cool.
we're one of 19 states currently that doesn't allow the sale of raw milk in any form.
So
the number's
funny.
kind of fuzzy because some states allow it through like shares, like farm shares. Some states allow it through farmers markets. So it's not like cut and dry, like allowed, not allowed.
Yep.
But Iowa doesn't allow it in any form. You can't get a cow share. You can't sell it at a farmer's market. You can't go to somebody's farm and just pick it up and pay them. Like all of that is illegal.
Yeah.
So this bill would change that and it would now become legal.
That is wild. I just went on a trip to Branson and my girlfriend brought, looking like moonshine, this big old jar, like mason jar full of raw milk down. And we all had raw milk on this. And it really was like, we even went past state lines with this big moonshine of raw milk.
The cops pull you over and she throws it out the window.
Throw the contraband.
There's like a dog sniffing the car.
They're like, look what I brought us for vacation. Most of the time people are bringing out pot or something and we're like, raw milk.
Did you have any?
Of the raw milk?
Yes.
Okay, wait, I actually didn't.
Okay, because I was like, you're allergic, but I didn't know if it would affect you
I'm
differently.
doing a little better, and mozzarella I'm playing with, but so I didn't because of that. But everyone else loved it, and everyone else had it, and they were like, "This is so good." So,
Those are my people that you travel with that bring a big jar of
are definitely
raw,
your
unpasteurized
people.
milk on a trip.
Yeah.
I want to meet her.
Smuggling it. I can't name names though.
Yeah,
until 6
Until
weeks
this gets
to see if it passes.
So at this time, we are just placing all of our hopes and prayers that Governor Reynolds will approve that bill and allow the sale of raw milk.
Please, Kim, please.
Do it.
Mm-hmm.
You've done a great job.
Yeah.
Just keep protecting the people's freedoms. So 31 states currently allow the sale of raw milk. And of course, the dairy industry is cautioning against it because they're worried about people's health.
Oh, right. And this is to say, get your raw milk from a
good
quality source.
Yeah.
I mean, I ain't drinking milk from some weird farm, like the
Somebody
dirty
that
one.
pulls it out from under a poncho in a back parking lot.
I get you. I'm like, I need to know, like, all of your cows have names. You need to brush them once a month. This is what I'm talking about.
Well,
okay?
the bill will have a lot of stipulations as well.
Thank you.
So I think it is protective.
Thank you.
There's a lot of legislature in place to keep it protective.
Well, that's a good thing.
There are people who are, of course, up in arms who are thinking everyone's going to die as soon as we pass it. But let's just take a look at the 31 states that allow the sale of raw milk. Are people dropping dead there for reasons we can't determine? No, because if their death rates from food poisoning aren't higher than ours, let's just all take a chill pill. Okay?
Right. A raw milk chill pill.
As far as I know, the states that allow it have no higher mortality rates from food poisoning than the states that don't. So, right.
And I would say of all things that would get your feathers ruffled, let's have raw milk not be that one.
Yeah, let's just pick our battles here.
Yes.
Anyway, I thought that was cool. I was just reading that as I
cool.
was writing this episode. And it was cool because it leads right into our topic of discussion today, which is all about why exposure to bacteria is important for immunity. And raw milk.
In the right amount.
In the right amount, the right kind.
Yep, the right kinds.
So as we've talked about in prior episodes, the last few episodes, I gathered a lot of this information from the Health and Longevity Summit that I virtually attended.
The way. That's the
way.
modern way.
That was like a dairy joke. The way.
Oh.
Speaking of dairy. Couldn't help it.
I love you. It's so good.
This leads us to our topic of discussion. Revolutionary New Science of Immunity with Dr. Jeffrey Bland and the gut-brain connection with Dr. Mary Pardee. So I listened to both of those talks, and then these notes come from what I gleaned and learned from those talks.
And that gut-brain connection, I'm hearing so much of that, and I'm on board. What is it, 90% of your serotonin is in your gut? Like,
yeah, something along those lines that your gut produces.
Like,
yes.
There is something to that. If you want to be happy in the head, be happy in the gut.
I'll be ready for more mind-blowing facts.
Okay.
So we'll start. The immune system, our immune system, is connected to our environment. So the viruses, bacteria, toxins, stress, all the things that make up our environment impact our immune system. I think we know that. So the two major parts of our immune system are our innate immune system and our adaptive immune system. So our innate immune system is the first line of defense. So it is like what comes with our body, right? Innate. This immune system is basically the one that's at the barrier of every part of your body that comes into contact with the outside world. So it's on our skin, in the mucosal lining of our nose and sinuses, because we're breathing in toxins, our mouth, our lungs, our stomach, and our gut lining. And this makes sense because these are all the body parts that get exposed to stuff firsthand.
Yeah.
Everything else gets it like secondhand. So the innate immune system is located at those areas that get exposed firsthand. So constantly, 24/7, our body is responding to the outside world through our immune system, our nervous system, and our mucosal barriers, and they are all talking at the same time. So we are interconnected to the world at large through our immune system. And here's something to think about. The world also has its own immune system, right? Because the soil of the earth is a rich colony of microorganisms.
Yes.
The soil microbiome, which are all the microorganisms in our soil crosstalk to each other. And actually, when you plant seeds, or when nature plants seeds, birds plant seeds, squirrels plant seeds, the microbiome of the soil talks to the seeds and learns what the seeds need to germinate and helps produce that. How cool is that?
That is like a beautiful Ferngully moment.
Yes, Ferngully.
It feels real Ferngully.
Yes.
I love that show.
Me too. And then the seeds that get planted have receptor sites on them that pick up information from the soil.
What?
Yes. And then each plant contains unique properties of the soil that it's in. So plant that's in clay soil could be the same species as a plant that's in sandy soil, but they have totally different properties because that plant is taking up the properties of the microbiome that it's in.
Quantum physics is making more sense the more you talk. That is wild.
And then when we eat those plants, we pick up those unique components of the soil. So direct connection to our environment. So
really neat. Really neat.
Yes.
I keep saying this to every podcast. It's all connected. We really are we need to love each other, love the earth, love our food, to love ourselves. It's all connected.
The soil, the sea, the plants, the herbivores, the carnivores, we all speak to each other through microorganisms that come from the earth.
Whoa.
So when the planet's immune system is compromised, for example, what we are doing to our soil, maybe for Iowa's a good example, right?
Iowa.
With monoculture.
We apologize.
Yeah.
Iowa apologizes.
Monoculture farming, the input of synthetic fertilizers and chemicals, herbicides, all of those things mess with the soil microbiome. That messes with the bacteria and the components that are getting into the plants, and then that messes with our microbiome.
Right.
Yeah, we're all interconnected.
And
the rivers and everything else.
Which we're from Iowa. We understand the Industrial Revolution. That's how money works. That's how the economy works. We get it. We just want to help be the change to the better way. Just any little changes we can make.
Absolutely.
is better than what we got.
Hey there, Renegades. Eleni here, briefly interrupting this episode of the Renegade Nutrition Podcast. I wanted to highlight a company that Kay and I have recently discovered that we love, and that company is Bulletproof. Bulletproof sells high-quality nutritional supplements, and every product that Kay and I have tried from them personally, we have found to be excellent. It's important when you choose a supplement that it contain the bioactive forms in order for it to be effective, and Bulletproof has just the right forms in just the right amounts. Right now, if you go to bulletproof.com and use the code RENEGADE15 at checkout, you can receive 15% off your order. That's Renegade, RENEGADE 15. Use that code at checkout to get 15% off, and we'll earn a small commission too. Thanks for your support. All right, back to this week's episode of the Renegade Nutrition Podcast. So when our planet's immune system is compromised, our immune system is compromised, it's hard to have a healthy world population if we have an unhealthy planet. And if we take care of our planet, we're taking care of our immune system. So the environmental scientist in me wanted to share that important fact.
I love it.
So now, why do you need to get dirty? Specifically, why does getting dirty help your immune system?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's talk a little bit more about the microbiome so you can understand. Our microbiome contains a cumulative genome that codes for nearly 20 million genes. So the human genome, 20,000 genes.
Oh.
Microbiome, 20 million genes. So
How do they fit?
99% of the genes that exist in our body come from bacteria. Our bacteria.
Whoa. You're right. You're blowing my mind.
1% are from our human genome.
Whoa.
When you look at it by volume.
Wow.
So 99% of our genome in our body can be changed at any moment. Only 1% is set.
That is wild. Okay.
So we are like basically human ecosystems. So let's talk for a minute about our GI system and our microbiome. So that's our microbiome. Our microbiome contains 99% of our genes. So our GI system. I think this should be a review since we talk about the gut-brain connection and the gastrointestinal system a lot in other podcasts.
Yep.
Because gut health is connected to every single chronic disease. So I really can't have any episode where we talk about chronic disease and don't talk about gut health. And also is connected to many acute diseases as well. So remember, the GI mucosal system is basically like a 20 plus foot long piece of tubing that connects the north to the south hemispheres of your body. Now, the conventional view...
I was going to say the north and south poles of your body. That too.
Poles instead of poles.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
That's also true. It does connect the north and south poles. The traditional view of gastroenterology is that the GI tract, so like this big picture view that most conventional medicine has, is that like the role of the GI tract is to break down big chunks of food into small chunks of food so we can digest it, right? Like proteins get broken into amino acids, etc. There's actually a lot more going on because the microbiome of the GI mucosal system is like essential. So our mucosal system has tons of surface area. It contains 60% of our immune system contained in the gastrointestinal associated lymphoid tissues, GALT, G-A-L-T tissues. The immune system of your body, 60% is located in the mucosa of your gastrointestinal tract. And why there? Because over the course of living, you are exposed to 10 to 20 tons of new molecules from your diet. So it kind of makes sense that in your like GI system, in your mucosa, that's where the main part of the immune system is going to be located because you're eating food. That's a main source of exposure
to new things.
Whoa. So we need a really good system there that can distinguish friend from foe, right? This is why food sensitivities and allergies can be so devastating, because when that system isn't working, when it isn't distinguishing friend from foe, it's a big problem because it's 60% of our immune system.
Wow.
Yeah. So if you have a breakdown in your immunity, in your immune system, and you have a breakdown in the ability of your body to recognize friend from foe, that's how you develop autoimmune conditions and systemic inflammation. So we have many episodes discussing, or at least approaching this topic. So we have The Surprising Truth About Probiotics, parts 1 and 2. Food cravings and the role of the gut microbiome. Gut and psychology syndrome with Dr. Natasha Campbell. Autoimmune disease, find healing and get your life back. That one's with Dr. Julia Buchkina. and gut health 101, to name a few. We talk about it in a lot of episodes. Those were the ones that as I went through, I was like, yes, these were obviously gut related. So those are also connected. Our immune system is influenced by the exposures of our cells to various molecules even before we are conceived. So we inherit our microbiome in utero from our mothers during pregnancy. The placenta contains microbes that are passed on to you. I think there was a time when we thought the infant gut system was sterile, right? Up until recently. Yeah. But now we're learning that actually it does contain microbes from the placenta.
Oh, explains my daughter's baby milk problems. Yeah. It's from mama. Okay.
So for an example of how powerful this is, for example, babies of stressed mothers contain fewer bifidobacterium. Bifido helps us digest fiber, produce B vitamins and vitamin K. And the reason the baby has fewer bifidobacterium is because the mother has fewer bifidobacterium because she's stressed out. Yeah. Additionally, women exposed to animals and dirt during pregnancy are less likely to have children with asthma, allergies, and autoimmune conditions.
Really? That's awesome.
I actually thought about that the other day. Just yesterday, I was out with my goats. And I was snuggling and loving them.
In their dirty fur.
Which is so soft and so warm. And I was like, I'm building my baby's immune system right now. This is so good.
You're just sniffing their bodies.
Oh my gosh. They smell good.
Like an addict.
Yes. No, goats if their house is clean, they just smell like fresh hay.
I love that. Yes.
You should come visit. You should come visit them.
I'll go love on
out in the sunshine. And they're
goats.
In the mornings, especially, they're all sleepy and snuggly. They're usually napping before we get there.
Get them while they're tired.
And they're all just snuggly. And
I've
that's
never
all they
met
want.
your goats.
I know. Come meet my goats.
Okay.
And
it's on the list.
Not only does your interactions with the goats, loving and cuddling them, build oxytocin, which we discussed in our longevity podcast.
Yes.
It's also building your immune system.
I love it. I love it. God intended for us to snuggle dirty animals. This is why I want a big old horse. See, this is God's way.
Yes.
Nature's way.
So exposure to different antigens like dust, pet dander, and dirt help you inform your microbiome and teach your immune system how to tolerate different allergens. So this prevents your immune system from over-responding like what happens in asthma and allergies. So to keep overreactions from happening, you have to expose your immune system to different antigens like animals, pollen, dirt, dust, etc., so that your immune system doesn't freak out. So it's actually really good for you, not just your kids, but for you to be outside in the dirt, exposing your immune system to things all the time.
So my life ethos is wild and free. So actually there's something to it over a sterile living, wild and free, friends. Wild and free.
So how can you promote this tolerance? How can you build this tolerance for your immune system so that you have a more appropriate immune response? Well, first of all, go outside.
Go outside.
Play with outdoor animals. Visit animals on farms.
Yes.
You don't have to have your own farm animals, but most people live in some sort of proximity to a farm somewhere.
Right.
Even if it's a couple hours drive. It's still a fun field trip for you.
New York City. Take a field trip.
Exactly.
Yes.
Interact with nature and touch and feel things.
Take off your shoes.
Be barefoot. Yes. Also be cognizant of being gentle when you're in nature, like hiking on a trail. Don't just be ripping and dragging plants from one place to another. But you should be feeling nature when you're out in it. I don't know, when my husband and I go for walks, I just discovered how much I like hackberry trees.
Yes. I don't know what a hackberry tree would look
Well, they have really cool bark.
Okay.
It's looks like a topographic map. It it feels like a cork board.
Yes.
So we were out in the woods with our goats and we were walking around.
Loving life.
And I saw one and he told me it was a hackberry tree and I was like, this feels so cool.
I do know any kind of really thick bark that comes off.
Comes up and is all ridged. Yes. It's really cool.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, see?
Okay.
You have to get into and touch nature.
Be one with nature.
Also, stop sanitizing your hands every 5 minutes.
Okay, well, here's where I say I never sanitize my hands ever in my life. Ever. Okay. And then COVID happened. I was like, oh, shoot. I should start sanitizing sometimes. So now I found a healthy balance where some people I know over sanitize. I was under sanitizing. Now I only sanitize if I'm like, that was really gross.
Yeah. I feel like the times I sanitize my hand are after I pump gas.
Yes, very publicly, like hospital pumping gas, like touching.
Or like a public ATM.
Yes. Same.
But otherwise, like,
if it's naturey things, you don't
let's
need
just
to.
chill out, guys. Stop sanitizing your hands every 5 minutes. And stop having kids sanitize their hands every 5 minutes. Like, kids are meant to spread germs. That's what they do.
To build their immune system.
Oh,
that's smart.
Another good way is to wash your dishes by hand.
Oh.
At least some of them, because when you put them in the dishwasher, it can sterilize, sanitize cycle. Yeah. But if you wash them by hand, you don't have that. So you keep a healthy growth of microorganisms.
My husband would be like, that's disgusting.
I know. My husband wouldn't care.
Yeah, right.
We still are going to use our dishwasher because we need to maintain our sanity.
Right.
But it did make me think like, oh yeah, I don't mind just washing a cup or a plate by hand too.
How fascinating. Just something so invisible and small like that matters.
Matters. It makes a difference.
Wow.
Also, eating fermented foods. Getting your hands in the dirt, for example, planting a garden, or if you live in an apartment and you can't garden, buy from a local organic farm because there's more likely to be dirt on the vegetables than if you get them from the supermarket, conventional. And then don't go crazy with washing them, just rinse them. Like that's all we do. We don't use any produce wash or HP or vinegar or anything like that. We just... And sometimes I don't rinse stuff either. So.
Yeah, to be fair. But I was going to say, yeah, right. But if you get it from the grocery store, you need to because all the pesticides
right,
on it.
You want to wash off the pesticides.
Off the pesticides. But if it's from a farmer you trust, organic, then you're right. Just eat it. Amazing. Eat dirt.
Yeah. And then for mothers who are expecting, having a vaginal birth, breastfeeding your child, those are both ways that you can boost their immune system early in life because you give them exposure to bacteria that you don't have otherwise. Additionally, what we put in our mouth is very important in terms of how it signals downstream to our immune system and our microbiome. So here's an interesting fact. The moment a baby stops breastfeeding and starts to eat solid foods, their microbiome starts to shift to reflect that of an adult instead of that of a baby. Which makes sense because your microbiome is affected by the foods you eat. So a baby that's drinking breast milk exclusively is going to have a different microbiome.
Wow, interesting.
But as soon as they make that shift, their microbiome starts to shift. So this still happens in adults. So when you change your diet, your microbiome can shift as an adult within 24 hours. So if you spend a weekend eating like pizza, pasta, etc., then your microbiome will reflect that within 24 hours.
Wow.
So if you quickly return to your normal healthy diet, and that's just like a one-off thing, then your microbiome can shift back. But if you continue to eat a diet like that for 10 days or more, you make a long-term shift in your microbiome. And it takes a long time to shift it back to what it was.
Whoa. Okay, and that must be American pasta and pizza. Because the ones from France, friends, might be, be a little better.
Or Italy, where it's...
Or Italy,
And so there's a state in which we create something called endotoxemia, which is basically when we poison our microbiome, creating a massive die-off of bacteria. And when that happens, when we kill all those bacteria, the cell walls of the bacteria themselves actually break down and then release their components into your bloodstream, which isn't great. It's
diabolical.
Diabolical. Yeah, they're like, you kill me, I kill you.
I'll kill you. I'll break into many pieces and kill you.
And then those components released by the bacteria are picked up by your immune system, by receptors in your intestinal tract. They recognize the harmful behaviors of these bacteria, and then they tell your brain, hey, by the way, that was like whatever you just ate, that was a bad idea. You just killed off a lot of bacteria.
Okay.
So your gut actually detects that that's happening and lets your brain know that was dumb.
Cool.
Don't eat that way again.
I just need to be in tune and listen to that.
Yes, you and every other American.
Yes.
So we can handle this every once in a while, right? Like if you go out for a celebratory event and you have pizza and beers with friends, like if that's a once in a while, every great while thing, your body can handle that, right?
Bounce back. Yep.
It's going to bounce back. But like, what about people who live in a food desert? Because that's a very real thing where you don't have access to fresh food every day. It's basically a massive experiment on endotoxemia because they're living in an endotoxic state because they're not getting the fiber and the nutrients and the phytonutrients and the phytochemicals and the minerals and all the things that they need. So they're constantly killing off their bacteria because they're not feeding them.
Wow.
Yes. So what are the best things to do food-wise to feed your microbiotic garden? So eat foods rich in polyphenolic compounds. So when we talk about eating the rainbow, that's what we mean, eating colorful foods. Colorful foods are rich in polyphenolic compounds. Eating pre and probiotics. So prebiotics are things that contain a lot of fiber that then feed your probiotics. So lots of fresh veggies and fruits contain prebiotics, and then that fiber breaks down and feeds the probiotics in your bacteria. But also you can take probiotics, and again, listen to our probiotics episodes. Vitamin D supplementation, because it modulates our gene expression and helps create a healthy microbiome. And then polyunsaturated fatty acids, omega-3s and omega-6s. So omega-3s, healthy ones, come from fish, good quality fish, fatty fish, especially things like cod liver oil, and then good sources of omega-6s. You know, so not processed sources like industrial seed oils, but things like evening primrose oil and like nuts and seeds and good grains, because if you're not sensitive to grains, they're good grains. So keeping a balance of those omega-6s and omega-3s is important because we need them both. It's not just all bad and all good. We need them both. So those are the things you can eat to feed your microbiome. But otherwise, the most important thing is getting out in nature and getting your hands dirty.
I love it.
I actually remember reading a story where they were talking, not a story, a research article, but this was like probably 10 years ago that I read it, but it stuck with me, where they showed that seniors who spent time out in their gardens and gardening had like a fraction of the occurrences of rheumatoid arthritis as seniors who didn't.
Really?
Because they're getting exposed to all those healthy bacteria in the dirt. The healthy bacteria build their immune system.
Yeah.
Rheumatoid arthritis is an autoimmune condition. Wow. So if you're maintaining that healthy immune system.
And then likely those people are doing that as an act of like relieving stress. And then also they're likely eating more vegetables because they have a garden. So what a beautiful, maybe I need to take up gardening. Could you teach me?
I can teach you.
Okay, good.
Yeah, it's easy. Yeah, and I know it's not an option for everybody. I mean, I know people live in apartments and don't have like a garden space, but
maybe a little pot on their balcony.
Yeah, and get real dirt and put it in there. And then, you know, like not just stuff that's in a bag, because that doesn't really have any microorganisms in it.
Fair.
But also, I mean, there's lots of other things we shared in this, like washing your dishes by hand, not hand sanitizing every 5 minutes.
Yep. Go to the park.
Go
barefoot for a while. Do
play
some
out in
handstands.
nature. Like, you don't have to be a farmer to get exposed to bacteria, but go look for a little farm near you and go snuggle some animals.
Yeah.
Lots of things.
Sounds like fun.
Play with your dog outside. Let your dog get dirty. Pet your dog.
Stay at an Airbnb on a farm.
Stay at an Airbnb on a farm in France.
In France. I'm in. Let's go right now.
100%. Yeah. So simple tricks, simple tips. But I think it's really important that we understand dirt is not the enemy, right?
Yep.
Outside nature is not just always trying to kill you no matter what we're told.
Yep.
It lives in harmony with us. We live in harmony with it. And so you need to be exposed to the microorganisms in nature in order to build your own immune system. And we need to take care of our planet in order to take care of our immune system. So the more we have an opportunity to do things like buy foods directly from a local farm, the more we're taking care of the land and our immune systems.
Which is beautiful. Well, Amy, Thank you for talking dirty to all of us.
Yes, you're welcome. Today was dirty and not nerdy.
Yeah, dirty, not nerdy. Your husband loves every side of you, both the dirty and the nerdy.
He does. He appreciates it all.
Well, thank you for this reminder to go back and just live life dirty again, guys.
Yeah. Get your hands in the dirt.
Yeah.
Get your hands in the dirt.
Good for you.
Go be renegades.
Go be renegades. Thank you for listening to the Renegade Nutrition Podcast.
Please keep in mind that this podcast is an educational service that provides general health information. The content on this podcast is not a substitute for direct, personal, professional medical care and diagnosis. You should always talk to your doctor before making a dietary or lifestyle change. Go be renegades!
Go be renegades!